Lauren, did you actually drop out of high school? I'd love for that to be true, actually. But that has to be a joke, right?
A joke? Why would that be a joke to you?
Because. Are there actually still people around these days that have never finished high school? There's no one like that, right? Chance ended up graduating high school and college, right?
And I'm sure that Chance has explained everything to you before, but I'll tell you again. While I was in high school, my parents' company was having a bit of a struggle. And during that time, my mom ended up passing away, and things just got worse from there. And so, to make sure that my younger brother could continue going to school and be taken care of, I left school and started working when I was 16. And so, you could say that I am, in fact, a high school dropout.
What? Oh, well, that story doesn't mean crap to me.
Well, if it doesn't mean anything to you, then why did you ask me about this? And actually, I'm pretty sure you've been told this story once before already in person. Why are you asking for it again?
Because I graduated from a very high-level university, and because of that, I've been able to keep my family's company going. They wanted to make sure that someone would take very good care of it after all, so they forced me to study hard and go get a great education. My ability to run a company is all thanks to my education. And because of that company, I am able to be where I am today. And so when you think about how important someone's education is, that makes you the lowest of the low, right?
Huh? What the heck are you trying to say to me? I didn't think that I needed the same kind of education as you have to run a company, and I make that pretty obvious, right?
When an elite like me is able to take your brother who's expected to succeed just as much as me away from you, we are going to become the most happy couple on this planet. But in your case, you have nothing, right?
You're right. A lot of things happened with me.
You poor thing. But with your educational history, it's expected of you to have a tough life.
I don't really think it's the fault of my education that put me into a divorce, though. And I have no reason why I should tell you what actually caused those things to happen either.
Well, that doesn't bother me, because I now have the right to belittle you all I want. That's how things are going to work.
Well, if you think that because of you graduating from whatever nice university you graduated from makes you better than me, so be it.
I have no idea why you'd be so okay with that. Just know that when it comes to Chance and I's wedding, a lowlife like you is not allowed in.
Do you not think that's a little rude to ask from me?
Why would that be rude? It's my wedding after all, so I can ask whatever I want. And Chance and I are both college graduates. Why would you think it's okay to have a high school dropout come to the wedding of two scholars?
Someone's education has nothing to do with your wedding, though. It should be more than enough for me to come to that wedding due to the fact that I'm Chance's older sister.
Well, you can say whatever you want about the wedding, but I'm not letting you come. If you'd really like to come to the wedding, then find a way to show me that you're equal or better than me.
Equal or better? Why do you think this is all some sort of competition?
Well, I'm just asking that if you want to be allowed into our amazing wedding, you'll have to prove that you're good enough.
Why do I have to do all of that when I just want to watch my little brother get married? Does it really matter if I'm better than you or not? Are you saying that something would happen to me if I did show up to that wedding without your permission? If so, I'd suggest you hold off on any of that, because as far as I'm aware, I haven't done anything to make you hate me.
That's not the problem here, Lauren. This all has to do with my pride.
Well, I'm not sure what you're so prideful of. Perhaps instead of having such a fragile pride that could be destroyed by me coming to the wedding, you just relax a little and enjoy your special day. Right now, I'm just going to assume that everything you've said thus far has all been a simple joke, right? I don't want to think anything else of your attitude today, so I'll be going now.
I am laughing my butt off right now. You really thought it'd be okay to come here even though you never made it through high school? You really have no self-respect, do you?
What are you on about? The only one that doesn't seem to have any self-respect is you. All I've done is show up to my brother's wedding today. But you started talking down to me and then took a bucket full of water and splashed it all over me and my dress. Is that what someone that cares a lot about their education does to others?
I told you all about this before, right? I said that anyone who comes here who isn't equal or better than me education-wise is not allowed in. So get lost. But I guess it only makes sense that someone without a high school diploma would make the mistake of not understanding what I meant. You're so stupid that we could consider you on the same level as a dog.
I know that you had quite a blast tossing me out of your wedding and all, but do you know what'll happen if you do have me go home?
You should be asking yourself that. Do you know what's going to happen to you now?
What do you mean by that?
An idiot without any decent education is going to be cast away by Chance and I. In other words, we're cutting ties with you for good. Don't you feel bad for how sad your brother's going to be now because of this?
Go ahead and say what you will. I can already see that you don't feel a bit of regret for what you've done to me. And I know that nothing will ever stop you from belittling me.
It's your fault for not listening to my warning and still showing up to my wedding. Even thinking about the fact that a dog like you would come to an elite's wedding makes me sick to my stomach. Do you at least understand me a little better now that you've been covered head to toe in freezing cold water?
I'm going home.
And never show your face around us again.
I'll make sure of that. And I think there will never even be a chance for you and I to see one another again. No matter what happens to you from now on, I hope you get a taste of your own medicine.
Shut up! My own medicine? Get out of here and go home, you brainless joke!
You don't even have to tell me twice. Good luck with my brother.
I overheard some interesting and sort of weird things just a second ago. Do you happen to have a lot of money, Lauren?
And so what if I do?
I want to know why someone that never finished high school has ended up with a lot of money. My parents are looking all over for you right now, and I want to know why.
Well, of course they'd be looking for me. From both your parents' points of view, I'm one of their customers' CEO.
Wait, huh? CEO? I have no idea what you just said to me. Do you think you can come back here right away? I think you and I talking about this in person would be the quickest.
Right now? There's no reason for me to go back there now, right?
Huh? Why not?
Have you forgotten everything you just did to me a little bit ago? I don't want to catch a cold just standing there all drenched, so I went back home. It seems things are starting to catch up to you now, though, huh? But as you can see, I did as you said and went home.
But I'm saying that we weren't on the same page back then. I had assumed that you were just some moneyless high school dropout and that you'd be a waste at the wedding. Is that not the case?
I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you were very wrong. I had started my own company and am now running 3 different businesses.
You're running 3 different companies?
I'm aware that I'm telling you all of this now, but I'm sure my brother explained everything to you about my companies a while back. And when you first met me, I told you again about what my occupation is. Why are you acting like this is only the first time hearing this of me?
I can't believe any of this. I never heard a thing about any of your companies.
Maybe that's because when you heard about my education, you decided to start treating me like an animal, and that includes not continuing to listen about who I actually was, right? You just got attached to the idea that I dropped out of high school and made sure to paint me as the idiot you thought I was, and ever since then, you acting all happy about picking on me has been rude as hell. And you didn't even try and hide the fact that you'd belittle me from Chance, with all the ways you called me names and mistreated me. But isn't it just amazing? The parents of a girl that boasts about her education and her career are actually the ones getting money from me to work with them? You never thought that could be the case, did you?
Huh? My parents' company gets paid by you? They're paid by someone who hasn't even graduated high school.
But you said you're going to cut ties with me, so I plan on ending the work I do with them.
Huh?
I was assuming you would have been prepared for the fallout of all you've done to me. So you should be ready for what'll happen next, right? So when you start to worry about what'll happen with your parents and everyone around you, it'll involve me and my company.
Hold on for just a minute, Lauren. Are you being serious about all of this? I never once thought that you'd have any relations with my family company. And why would I ever guess that someone like you would be able to become a CEO when you don't have any education? Could this mean that you're committing fraud? You haven't gotten my family involved in any of your fraudulent business, right?
You can only get so far thinking that me being a dropout means I can't do anything. I'm going to take you to court for defamation. Is that what you want to happen?
Take me to court? What are you talking about? Stop that right now.
Sandy, you only just covered me in a bucket of freezing cold water, right? Did you forget about all of that? You may think that it's okay to look down on others because they don't have as good as education as you, but do you not understand there can be repercussions for that? It's one thing to get like this because of your education, but I think there's something rotten about your personality as well.
I don't want to hear all of this from some fraud.
I'm sure you don't want to accept all that's happening right now, but I want you to understand that you have just put yourself in between a rock and a hard place. Are you seriously not aware of how childish you've been acting? I don't even want to say childish, though, because even most children know better.
Wait a second. Does Chance know about this?
Of course he does, after all of this. Chance ended up asking someone about why I was covered in water and sent home, and then when he was told his woman did it, he freaked out.
This is so messed up. Why would someone tell him it was me? I'll tell him I did it because you punched me first.
Huh?
I can always just make up a lie to get them all to side with me. They'd all trust me over you because I'm the bride today, right? So how about you tell Chance that you started all of this by punching me and that you're sorry, and I'll tell him the same.
Do you really think anyone's going to believe that?
What?
My brother just told me that he's taken your family and everyone with him to talk about this and canceling the wedding. And he's even got me on the phone now talking about it.
They can't just decide to stop the wedding without me. That'll mess everything up. Lauren, hurry up and tell him what really happened and get him to come back to me.
That's not my problem to deal with, so no thank you. And above all that, I have something far more important to talk about. I'm going to be stopping any payments made to your parents' company, and that's final. I already let them know about this, and have told some of my employees to no longer work with your family's company.
Oh, crap. I didn't think that my parents would have to pay for this as well.
It seems your parents didn't even realize that I'm Marcus's older sister. But Chance just told them today, and now they are well aware. And that's why they now understand why you never happened to tell them about me.
This is really not good, and I'm starting to have a panic attack. What am I going to do? What should I do? Please, Lauren, help me.
Not after all the terrible things you've done to me. And I can't even come back there to help now because I'm not as educated as you are. So, since things have all gone to plan for you, why are you so upset now?
None of this is going to plan, not at all. This is a huge problem for me now, and I need you to come back.
The only problem with all of this is the problems you have with your head.
What is wrong with you?
It's better that you go and talk with Chance about this now. I have nothing else to say to you now, and I don't want to hear any more of this. Now, goodbye forever.
Wait, please, Lauren. You can't just leave me forever, you know. I'll apologize to you for making fun of your education. I'm so sorry. But just because I made a few comments about you and your past doesn't mean you have the right to go and destroy my wedding and everything, right? You need to start acting like an adult yourself. You get back here right now and make things right for me.
Do you really plan on acting as though nothing happened because of you and you can just wait for someone else to care for you?
Huh?
How about you calm down a bit and think this all through? You can't blame any of this on anyone besides yourself. This is what you had been asking for a long time, right? You're the one that made me feel bad for myself, and then covered me in a bucket of ice-cold water, right? After all that and the results that you got, you still plan on blaming me? Do you need to go get some exams done on your head or something?
I have nothing wrong with my head, though. I will apologize for spilling all that water on you as well. So now that I'm apologizing for so much, don't you think you can forgive me?
This isn't about me forgiving you or not. I'm done here now. The rest of this you can handle with Chance and everyone else. I'm going to be disappearing from your life now. And so that means I'd like you to disappear from my life now as well, okay? It sucks having your wedding canceled due to all this, doesn't it? Well, I should say that your marriage in general is over with. After everything came crashing down, Sandy found herself in a situation she never expected. The wedding she had so eagerly planned and dreamed about was abruptly canceled, and with it, the life she thought she had been building began to crumble. The destruction didn't stop there. The news of her canceled wedding spread quickly, and it didn't take long for her family to find out about the attitude and behavior that had been kept hidden behind closed doors. Sandy had always been known for her beauty, her connections, and her education, but none of that could shield her when her true character was revealed. Her family, who had always supported her, became disillusioned by her actions. They watched as the drama unfolded, and with each passing day, it became clear that they could no longer stand behind her. The moment Sandy had hoped to return to work within her family's company was the moment it all fell apart. Instead of welcoming her back with open arms, they told her to leave. Her presence had become too much of a liability for them, and they couldn't afford to keep her around any longer. At that moment, Sandy's life took an unexpected turn. No job, no marriage, no security. The life she had carefully built for herself, with all its prestige and promises of success, suddenly seemed like an illusion. The very people she had once looked down upon, those she deemed unworthy due to their lack of education or status, were now the ones unaffected by the storm that had overtaken her. The contrast was stark. Sandy had thought she could float above the mess of the world, judging others from a distance, but now she found herself sinking into that very same mess. The shock of it all must have been overwhelming for her. Here was a woman who had been so sure of herself, so certain that her education, her family's wealth, and her social standing would carry her through life, but all of those things seemed meaningless now. What good was a degree from an elite university if no one would give her the time of day? What good was a prestigious family name if it couldn't protect her from the consequences of her actions? It wasn't just the wedding or the job that Sandy lost. It was her reputation, her standing in the community, and most painfully, her sense of identity. The realization must have slowly crept in. Her arrogance, her judgmental nature, and her disregard for others had built the foundation of her downfall. All her life, she had looked at others through a lens of superiority, convinced that she was better, that her education and family made her more worthy than those around her. But now, it was clear that those very things had become her prison. The job market, which had once seemed so promising to her, now felt like an impossible maze. Sandy had never had to struggle to find a job before. She had always been able to rely on her family's connections or her impressive resume to land a position. But now, those doors were firmly shut. She couldn't even get an interview. Word had spread about her behavior, and no one was willing to take a chance on her. Employers were looking for someone with integrity, someone who could work well with others, someone who could be trusted. But Sandy had burned those bridges. Her reputation had become so toxic that no company would risk hiring her, no matter how impressive her resume was. It must have been a painful realization for Sandy to understand that the very things she had once valued most, her education, her family's wealth, her social status, were now irrelevant. They had all been overshadowed by the mess she had made of her personal life. The more she tried to fix things, the more doors slammed in her face. Every attempt to rebuild her career, every effort to salvage her dignity only seemed to make the situation worse. And yet, even with all the setbacks, there was still a part of Sandy that wasn't ready to give up. She kept pushing forward, desperately trying to find a way out of her mess. She tried to find a job to make things right, but it was clear that the gossip surrounding her was too overwhelming. The stories of her entitled attitude, her reckless behavior, and her betrayal of those closest to her followed her everywhere she went. No one could see past that anymore, and that was the hardest thing for Sandy to accept. As time went on, I imagine Sandy had to confront the painful truth. She had spent her entire life judging people based on their education or their social status, but it was her behavior, the way she treated others, that was truly important. Education, wealth, and status were nothing more than a facade, a way to separate herself from the people she considered beneath her. But in the end, those things didn't protect her. It was her character, her actions, and her relationships with others that defined her. Sandy's only hope now seemed to be starting over. She would have to leave the city, leave behind the people who knew her, and try to rebuild her life in a place where no one knew her past. But even then, it would be a long and difficult journey. How could she ever escape the weight of her mistakes? How could she convince others that she had changed when her past was so public? Her arrogance and entitlement had shaped the person she was, and undoing that would take more than just changing locations. Maybe Sandy would eventually learn the most important lesson of all, that kindness, humility, and respect are far more important than any degree or social status. Maybe she would realize that true success in life doesn't come from looking down on others or using people for personal gain, but from building meaningful relationships and treating others with decency and understanding. It would take a lot of time, and perhaps she would never fully recover, but the hope is that she would eventually understand that real value comes from within, not from the labels we put on ourselves or others. I think back to how Sandy used to boast about her education, about her family's name, and about her ability to manipulate people. It's hard to imagine how she ever thought that those things made her untouchable, but now I can see just how misguided she was. The world didn't revolve around her accomplishments or her ability to belittle others. It was about how she treated people, how she made others feel, and in the end, it was that treatment, the way she treated those closest to her, that had led to her downfall. For me, the whole situation has been a reminder of how quickly life can change. We can spend so much time focused on the things we think matter, our job, our social status, our education, and then, in an instant, those things can be taken away. But what can never be taken away is our character, the way we treat others, and the kindness we show. Sandy will learn this lesson the hard way, but perhaps, eventually, she'll realize that the only way to truly rebuild her life is to start from the inside out. As for me, I can only hope that Sandy's journey will teach her the importance of humility, respect, and self-awareness. It's a hard lesson to learn, especially when you've spent so much time living with a sense of entitlement. But if she's lucky, she'll figure it out before it's too late. Until then, I can only watch as she attempts to rebuild what she's lost, knowing that it's not going to be an easy road. But maybe, just maybe, she'll find a way to build something better than she had before. A life based on respect and genuine connections, not on education or status. As Sandy continues to face the consequences of her actions, it's clear that rebuilding her life will require more than just a change of scenery or a new job. It's going to take a significant shift in her mindset, a willingness to confront the way she's treated others, and an understanding that her past cannot simply be erased. She'll have to take responsibility for her choices and work hard to regain the trust of the people she's hurt. It won't be easy, and it might take years, but if she's truly committed to making a change, perhaps she can find a way to move forward in a more meaningful and fulfilling way. The road ahead is uncertain, but the possibility of growth is always there, if she's ready to embrace it.
Thank you for watching all the way until the end. If you felt good after watching this video, please like the video. If not, please leave a comment and give us your feedback. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Your comments and likes help this channel grow. We hope you enjoy our other stories as well.